to catch these things. Okay, now let me tell you the big thing that's going to take place this week. That's really could make you a ton of money. Do you want to know?
Sure.
Okay, I think that the markets are going to be kind of jittery tomorrow. They're probably going to be going lower, higher. So I'm not expecting like a straight line move. Okay, but ultimately they're going to be doing that because on Wednesday at 2 o'clock they're going to be reviewing the Federal Reserve meeting in the notes, what they call FOMC notes. Okay, so as you know, the last reserve meeting they did not raise the interest rates, which was at the end of January, and typically a couple of weeks after that they come out with the notes that were taken during that meeting. And although it is sort of old information, unfortunately a lot of people do pay attention to it. So Wednesday at 2 o'clock, you're going to see markets moving higher, moving lower. The markets are going to be freaking out at 2 o'clock on Wednesday. Okay? The options prices are going to be moving up and down, moving up and down. So the idea is this, okay? We're watching the earnings of these companies tomorrow, and we're seeing how the markets are reacting. So based on this, we're going to know how we're going to play this review of the Federal Reserve meeting. Okay, now keep in mind, it's not a new meeting, so there may not be nothing in that report, but the markets are going to get jittery. A lot of people are not going to want to open new positions till they're going to know what exactly was reviewed. And since it was the last note of the last chairman, Yellen, okay, she kind of left the office with the view that the markets are overheated right now. In other words, she believed that the valuations are high, and she just made a few comments like that. So in the notes, they're going to be looking to see for more specifics. And if there's going to be something in the notes that clearly going to state, where she says, yeah, the market is overvalued, then we're going to see a huge drop Wednesday afternoon, which is going to carry over possibly for Thursday or Friday. And if that happens, then I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Amazon at 1,400. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Amazon back to 1,350. Okay?
Right.
And as a matter of fact, since we're talking now back about the markets, let's pull up the average. And so if the markets go lower tomorrow, which I think they will, if the markets go lower tomorrow, and there is some news in the FOMC notes, then we're going to see possibly, we're definitely going to, hey, tomorrow we may be back at 2,700. Wednesday we may be back to 2675, 2650. Okay, and I don't think if we get there by Wednesday, in other words, if we move 80 points between tomorrow and Wednesday, or even if we move 50 points lower by Wednesday night, I don't think there's going to be any buying on Thursday or Friday. What do you think?
Yeah, people will start to think of market going down. You're right.
So we already have a potential case for tomorrow for the markets to go lower. Okay, if that trend is confirmed Wednesday, that's going to cause more people to think that, hey, we're not going to see the new highs anytime soon. The new highs meaning the level of 28.75 or 28.50. We're not going to see that anytime soon. Maybe, this right here was just a warning that the markets are going to go significantly lower. Okay, and at that point, we could see a move to 25.46 by the following week. So, I would be very carefully watching the markets for the next 48 hours. And I know we've been talking about small position sizes on the stocks that are reporting earnings, all right? But if tomorrow the markets are retracing 20, 30 points lower, if Wednesday they're not reversing, then I would seriously consider okay, increasing my positions for Thursday and Friday, okay, in realization that, hey, this market may be turning around, you know, going downward again faster than everybody could have possibly predicted. So, you know, and if that's the case, let me ask you this. If that was the case Thursday and Friday, what could potentially happen the following week?
The following week, it won't keep going down, I guess.
Right. So if we're confirming the downward trend, well, it has a chance of accelerating. So
yeah,
Wednesday is probably our ultimate most important day to try to identify if we should be buying some weekly puts or maybe the following week puts. Because if the trend continues within a week, as long as you don't just get in and you try to jump out your positions like you had a tendency before, okay? As long as you don't do that and you just hold on to those puts, those could be very profitable puts. Okay,
yeah,
but again, this whole scenario, Shaq, this whole scenario could be 100% off the table if all of a sudden the markets open lower. This is what would change my strategy. If the markets open lower, but they bounce higher by the end of the day, that would make me very wary, because at that point, hey, no matter what's in the minutes, you know, the market may temporarily drop down, and if they keep picking it up every time it goes down, it is a sign that, you know, they're really trying to hold it up. So I think tomorrow and Wednesday it would be pretty safe to focus on the strategies like picking individual stocks that are announcing the earnings. Okay, so if you'll write that down, that's our main focus for the next 48 hours as we're watching what's actually happening with the market. And if we're seeing a trend that every time it falls, they pick it up super quick and they move it higher, then it's probably not a good idea to increase any position sizes and go and buy a bunch of puts for the following week. But if they move lower tomorrow and it stays lower, and if it goes lower Wednesday, then we should load up on a bunch of put options for the following week, because I think when people are going to realize the market is not going to try to go higher anytime soon, they are going to sell. And I think this time, not just the individual investors, we're going to see a lot of banks sell. Because then officially, for the very first time in the last 5-6 years, it is going to be confirmed that things are changing, that you're no longer, that the strategy of buying the dip is no longer the ultimate strategy. Just like the strategy of shorting volatility is no longer viable, well, buying the dip may no longer be profitable anymore. So if institutional investors are going to arrive at that conclusion, the more puts you're going to have for the following week, buddy, this may be a trading opportunity of a lifetime. Okay?
Right.
And then if that's the case, then what stocks, I know you probably were going to ask me that. What stocks should I short then, right?
Exactly.
I know you're pretty good by now. Remember, and the answer to that would be you want to short. Now we're talking about institutional investors unloading their positions, okay? We want to short the stocks that have the highest institutional ownership, okay?
Right.
The typical stocks, your Netflix, that trade, they're going to unload the stocks that everybody... We want to short the stocks that every institutional investor in the country owns, which is going to be a good number of really good stocks. But look, good stocks fall too, and they're gonna fall even faster, because